In this video, we're going to be going over what are the best perks to use in ranked, and I'm going to explain why they are good. I'm going to rank them from S tier all the way down to D tier. If this is interesting to you, make sure to go ahead and hit that sub button. We're posting Roku content every day. Let's go ahead and start off with S tier perk. So the first perk that we're going to start off with here is going to be Life Drain. Life Drain is a 10k perk, but it allows you to regain 50 health on downs. This perk can offer some much needed momentum and allow you to win 1v2s or even wipe a team if the timing is right. Now the next perk we have in the S tier is going to be Helping Hands. If you get this perk, it takes your res time from 5 seconds down to 3 seconds. And we all know that 2 seconds can make a huge difference in a gunfight. So picking up this perk is going to not only allow you to get your teammates up faster, but it puts pressure on the enemy team to be more aggressive and make sure that they are securing those down. And when teams are playing more aggressively, if that's not their typical playstyle, they usually make more mistakes. And when teams are making mistakes, that allows your team to be able to capitalize on that and hopefully get a pick or wipe a team when they're in their frantic mode. The next perk that I'm going to put on this list is going to be the start of the A tier, and that's Cloak. Cloak is very good in ranked because it's going to basically nullify rogues like Dallas and Talon. Being able to hide from those trackers is going to allow your team to get the jump on flankers or to hide their position from the enemy team. Giving the enemy team less information is going to allow your team to get those defensive spots together or even to get attacking angles that the enemy team may not see coming. So this is going to be good for attacking and defending, and it's also going to give your team a small advantage, which in high level ranked is probably going to be the difference between winning and losing some of these rounds. The next perk that we're going to put in the A tier is going to be Bounce Back. Bounce Back is going to be valuable because it takes your health recharge delay from 5 seconds to 3 seconds. And as I said with Helping Hands, 2 seconds can make a huge difference in especially these high level fights. Headstrong is very self-explanatory. Basically, it gives you body armor, and that's going to give you 25 additional health. Now, I put this one A tier. You can argue that it's top B tier, but having 25 additional health is just going to give you more sustain and give you the opportunity to either disengage from fights or win 1v1s with people who may not have the Headstrong perk. The next perk that we have to put here is Tenacity. Tenacity is going to be vital for most matches in high competitive because everybody is going to be able to get grenades, cook them, and probably hit you right on the noggin. So being able to reduce that damage by roughly 39 to 40% is going to make it to where you survive any one grenade toss. Now obviously if people double up their grenades and they're just really accurate, you're still going to go down. But at the very least, Tenacity is going to make them waste more of their resources to try and get you down. Now we're going to move on to the B tier perks. These are perks that can be useful, but you may not pick up every round. The first one we're going to start off with is probably the worst in this list, and it's going to be Evade. Now Evade does give you a small movement boost, but it's not enough of a speed increase to really be noticeable. And another downside is that it gives you this loud wind sound in your earphones that really is more of a detriment than a boon for sure. I would only pick up this perk really if it's right before you're about to switch sides, so either from attack to defense or vice versa, and you just have some extra money to spend. No need leaving money on the table. The next perk that we're going to put here is going to be Nimble Hands. Now, Nimble Hands can make a slight difference with the reload speed. Doing the math, it looks like it allows you to reload about 25% faster, which can be helpful. But ironically enough, many of the rogues who have Nimble Hand also have Replenish. And I feel like Replenish, even though it's a little more expensive, kind of makes Nimble Hands redundant, especially since the weapon swap speed isn't really noticeable on anybody except maybe Phantom. The next perk that we have here is going to be Padded Step. Now, Padded Step, a lot of people feel like it should be an A tier or an S tier perk, but in reality, Padded Step doesn't really make your steps silent. It makes them slightly quieter, but a team that is aware and paying attention can still hear you coming. Secondly, any team that is actually watching their sight lines is going to know that the flank is coming, and if they have any vision as well, it makes Padded Step almost redundant against higher level players. So while in game modes like Strikeout, this can be very useful, in Demolition and higher level ranked in general, I don't think this perk is going to give you as much value as some people may believe. The next perk that I have is going to be Replenish. Now, if this was Strikeout, I would probably put Replenish in the S tier, but since this is ranked Demolition, I'm going to go ahead and put this in B tier. And that's because Demolition plays a lot more slowly, a lot more tactical than Strikeout. Strikeout, you can just hold down the trigger and there's going to be people coming most of the time. But in Demolition, you have to be very patient, very tactical, and you're not just going to be holding down the trigger spraying out. There may be a few situations where you actually get in big gunfights like that, but most of the time it's going to be looking for those picks and then rushing from there. So for me personally, I would take that money and put towards things like bounce back, helping hands, in order to make sure that I'm able to help my team and help my own survivability a bit more, as opposed to just trying to hold down the trigger. Stalker is a very good perk for people who are using DMRs, Phantom with the sniper, and even people using ARs. And I say that because SMG players really aren't going to be aiming down sights too much. Maybe the LMP, Talon, and Glitch's SMG, maybe Chalk's SMG a little bit, because they can actually hit from range. But Lancer, Scorch, Ronin, they're definitely not going to be playing from range. Dahlia is not going to be playing from range. So this perk is going to be used for people who are actually going to be shooting from range, so that they don't get that slight movement penalty, which isn't a huge penalty, but it's enough to make a difference if you're trying to corner peek. So keep that in mind if you are playing that type of playstyle. The last perk that we have in the B tier is going to be Tracker Rounds. Tracker Round has received a slight buff. Now the reveal time goes from 3 seconds to 4 seconds. Now this is a B tier perk because it's simply too expensive. Maybe if this was 6,500 or 4K, it would be excellent. But if you have good communications, or if you're using the ping system at least halfway correctly, it kind of negates the whole purpose of Tracker Rounds. You can argue that maybe it'll give you a slight advantage on getting an angle on somebody, or maybe getting some pre-fires off on somebody, but all in all, if you're communicating with your team, which you should be in ranked, it makes Tracker Rounds a little irrelevant. Now we're going to go ahead and move to the C tier. We only have one perk here, and that's going to be Berserker. Now Berserker allows you to reload while sprinting. There's really nothing else to explain beyond that. This is not a bad perk, and just like Evade, if it's one of those things where you have some extra money and you're about to swap sides, or maybe you just have 4K laying around, maybe pick it up. But it doesn't really fit the playstyle of Rogue Company, this run and gun type shooting, first of all, because this is a tactical shooter. A lot of your shooting is going to be behind cover or peeking around corners, but you're not really going to be sitting out in the open having a gunfight and running around trying to reload. So while this perk can be useful, it's probably not going to be a top tier pick. Now the last perk that we have here, and our only D tier perk, is going to be Shredder Rounds. Shredder Rounds basically allows you to deal double damage against enemy equipment. Now most equipment only takes 1 or 2 shots to down, and if you're talking about trenches barbed wire, you can punch it down, and one punch will knock out a nice chunk of barbed wire. The only person you can really use this against effectively is Anvil's shield, and realistically you should probably just walk around it, especially with the pistol ammo nerf. Now you don't have bullets to just spray. In my opinion, I think that this perk needs some type of buff or rework, because right now it just isn't seeing any use. They need to kind of send this the way of 6th Sense and give us something new, something a little more fleshed out. Now this last perk I wanted to save until the end. It's going to be a Lifeline, which is Dahlia's new perk. This perk I feel may be a little bit broken and in need of a bit of a nerf or an adjustment, because it is very good and the amount of pressure that it brings on to a team is ridiculous. It's basically Saint's drone with obviously lesser range, but 30 meters is still pretty far. You can res somebody without even looking at them and being from cover. And you can res somebody else while you're automatically resing your linked buddy. You can have 2 people up in 2.5 seconds. You can have your whole team up in 5 seconds, assuming that they're all relatively close together. Dahlia applies so much pressure with her res ability. Ultimately, Dahlia has the ability to reset a fight, and that's going to be devastating in ranked. People, let me know if you think this tier list is accurate, or if you think some things should be swapped around. I love hearing from the community. If this video helped you at all, make sure to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We are posting Roco content every single day, and drop a like because it helps us so much. If you made it to the end of the video, put a piece down in the comment section so I know who the real ones are. Also, if you get some spare time, consider coming by the Lo-Fi Rogue Company 24-hour stream. It's basically just a chill stream, music in the background, Roco players come together, chit chat, and it's where I kick it when I'm editing videos. It's just a chill spot. Check it out if you have the time. As always, people, I appreciate you watching this video. We will see you tomorrow with another one. This is Ors, of course. Peace, 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 peace.